Coming up this week on the Georgia State Sports Update, we're talking Panther baseball. We'll be joined by head coach Greg Frady and senior first baseman Jack Thompson. Georgia State baseball set to head to Troy this weekend for a big Sun Belt Conference series. Also this past week, we go one-on-one with Odie Donald, DJ Woodson, and Travis Williams, three former Panther basketball players. Caught up with them at the Alumni Association's 40 Under 40 ceremony at Five Church in Midtown. And we'll talk Georgia State men's tennis with first-year head coach Jonathan Wolf. Hi again, Panther fans, and welcome into this week's Georgia State Sports Update. Dave Cohen joined in this first segment by head baseball coach Greg Frady. We're talking Panther baseball. Georgia State getting set to go on the road in the Sun Belt Conference. Going to head over to Troy, Alabama. And if there's one guy on this set, and there's only two of us who knows Troy, Alabama, Coach, it's you. You're a Hall of Famer over at Troy. You played at Troy. You were part of a national championship team at Troy. But all that aside, this is a big weekend series for your ball club.
It is a big weekend series, and the fact that I have some history at Troy, I think is just coincidental. I enjoyed playing there. It was a great place for me at that time, and it always feels weird going there to play, but that's been many, many years ago.
Right.
And right now my focus is on taking our Georgia State baseball team to Troy, playing three really good games, getting victories, and helping us progress and move forward in the Sun Belt.
Let's talk a little bit about this Georgia State ball club right now. The series against South Alabama last weekend, because of rain, was shortened. Friday night win, Saturday loss. There's a midweek game against Kennesaw State. Talk a little bit about how you feel your ball club is playing right now heading into, as you start to get into the meat of the Sun Belt schedule. You've already been to Arlington, Texas for a three-game series, and we've had South Alabama in Atlanta for what turned out to be a two-game series.
It's so interesting in the Sun Belt. Every weekend you go in to play a different team, but that team is really good and has accomplished something recently that makes them pretty good. This weekend, Troy has really been winning. They went to Louisiana Lafayette, which has been a very traditionally good team in the league, and beat them 2 out of 3, and really had a chance to sweep them on Sunday, and lost a one-run game. And so they're good. The two previous weekends, UT Arlington was the Western Conference, Western Division champion last year, regular season, and South Alabama this past weekend was the Eastern Conference regular season champion. These teams are good, and so it comes down to how well we play. We need to play clean on defense and catch the ball, and I know you've been talking about leading the nation in double plays, and we've really done a good job handling the ball in the infield. We need to continue to build on our offensive momentum. We've really done a pretty good job of hitting the ball and scoring a few runs. Yeah. Hunter Gaddis has been phenomenal in setting the pace, and we've had good starts in these games. We just got to continue to keep doing those things. These are good teams. These are tough games, but it all is going to come back down to how we play.
You got to like your rotation at this point. Your Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Hunter Gaddis is 5-1, ERA 1.69, and you got to love your Friday night starter with those kind of numbers. Jake Rogers and Jordan Lee, the three of them combined Friday, Saturday, Sunday are 10-3.
Yeah, and that's really good. And I think what's even more impressive than just that, and of course winning 10-3 is phenomenal, and I'm thankful for those guys, and I appreciate them at the level that there's no way for me to convey in this interview. But almost in every situation, they've pitched us in and through and deeper than the fifth inning in every game. And if you can get that from your starter, you give yourself a chance to win. But besides that, they've battled, they've grinded. Every start hasn't been easy. They've really worked at it. And I think they've been a primary reason for us having success so far this season.
Well, with that number 31 leading the nation in double plays turn in Division I baseball, and we're going to talk to senior first baseman Jack Thompson coming up in our next segment. But you got Will Kilgore at second, a senior. You got Justin Jones at short, a senior, 4-year, member of this ball club. It's been Romero Greer or Mike Huggins primarily at third. You've got an infield, and they talk chemistry. It's a word that's thrown around a lot in sports, but with at least three and whoever's at third, you got really good chemistry in your infield because they've played together now going on 4 years.
Yeah, I think that matters.
Yep.
It really does. Justin Jones and Will Kilgore really are cohesive there at second base. Mike Huggins has kind of been a swing guy at second and at third. Romero has been good at third playing defense. Jack has been good there. And you're talking about seniors, you know, they've just done a really good job. Leading the nation is a really hard thing to do in any statistical category. But the chances that we've had, we've cashed in and maximized those.
Okay, let me add one thing defensively, because it's taken us this long in this interview to bring up the name of your catcher, Nick Gatewood, who is tearing the cover off the ball. And as well as he's hitting the baseball, and he had a 2-home run night last Friday night in the 7-2 win at home against South Alabama, he has thrown out 8 of the 17 attempted base stealers that have tried to run against him. So that has been huge as well when you go back and look at the double plays and the base runners that he has thrown out. Not even talking about what he's done offensively, just from a defensive standpoint is huge.
Yeah, you're so right, Dave, because when a catcher can throw runners out, teams are less likely to attempt the steal.
Yeah.
When there's no attempt of the steal, then the runner stays at first base, and then a ground ball possibility of a double play is in order. And Nick has done a fantastic job. But I also want to credit our pitching staff doing a good job of holding runners.
Yep.
And we've picked some guys off first base too. That's kind of glued them down over there. And then the fact that Nick is throwing like he is has helped us a lot defensively. We've played well defensively, and I like where we are. It's supported our pitching, and when we play clean, we put ourselves in a position to win. And then, of course, you mentioned Nick as a hitter. Nick's been really hot, and he's been a middle-of-the-order presence, and he's done a good job of helping us.
Yeah, he's hitting just under 370 or just over 370. It's been fluctuating, but you know, he has really, you know, it's been interesting to watch him progress his way into the role that he's now taken with this team.
Yeah, it has, and I think it kind of starts back really. Let's make sure we give Joey Roach credit.
True.
When Nick was a freshman, Joey was an upperclassman, and Joey really took him under his wing. He taught him a lot, and I think that matters not only because Joey was an older catcher, but Joey was also a catcher that's a lot like Nick Gatewood, both left-handed hitters, both same body size. Joe was a really good receiver. He was a tough guy, and then Joe wound up getting drafted by Tampa. I think Nick saw what Joe could do and said, hey, I want to do that or top it, and as a competitor. And so I was even on talking to Joey Roach about this yesterday, and that he's very proud of Nick also. And I think he invested a lot of time, effort, and energy. Now, you can invest all the effort and all the energy, and you can coach them up, and you can have players mentor players, but ultimately Nick Gatewood deserves the credit for what he's doing. He's worked really hard, and in the game he's performed at a very high level. There was literally 25-plus scouts at our game on Friday night, and Nick played under the brightest, biggest lights you could play, and he really showed out. And I think Nick's going to be in a position to continue a long line of really good catchers who represents Georgia State beyond Georgia State.
All right, Coach, appreciate you coming in, and best of luck coming up this weekend at Troy against the Trojans.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, I want to thank Georgia State's head baseball coach Greg Frady joining us here on our opening segment of this week's Georgia State Sports Update. The theme is going to stay baseball. Coming up next, we're going to talk to senior first baseman Jack Thompson. Talking baseball still here in the Georgia State Sports Update this week. We've talked to head coach Greg Frady, and right now joined by one of the seniors on this year's ball club. Played at Milton High School in Alpharetta, now Milton, and that's Jack Thompson. Jack, great to have you here, and you've got a big series coming up this weekend. You guys are going to head out on the road to Troy, Alabama.
Yes.
And you guys taking a little bit of momentum in. 1-1 in the South Alabama series because the Sunday game got rained out. How you guys feel heading out on the road in league play for the second time this year?
Well, thank you for having me, and I think when we're on the road, we have a little bit of a bitter taste in our mouth since UT Arlington, so we want to fix that. Wasn't that we ever played poorly, it was just finishing the game that we struggled with, so I'm excited to hopefully turn the tide on that one going into Troy.
And then 1-1 against South Alabama because the Sunday game got rained out. Great Hunter Gaddis pitch game in the Friday night game, and then it didn't go quite so well on Saturday.
Well, Hunter's been great for us all season. He's gone, I believe, 6 innings at least every time. 2 complete games is crazy, and he's 5-1, I believe. So we know we can trust him on the mound. It's very exciting for us. Jake didn't have his stuff Saturday, and he knew he didn't have his stuff, but he fought for us for 5 innings, I believe, and then we tried to piece together. It was 3 innings, and then we tried to piece together a bullpen and see what we could do on a Saturday, and it just kind of didn't work out for us. But we were a little upset Sunday got rained out because we really felt like we were in a great position to win the series.
Let's talk a little bit about you this season. 2 years ago, I think you finished at .299 with regards to batting average. And of course played well in the field, mostly holding down at first base. Last year, a little bit of a down year offensively, but boy, you have really bounced back this year. Right now, .323, a home run, 8 RBIs. What was the difference from 2 years ago to last year to how well you're seeing the ball this year?
2 years ago was my first time starting every game, coming in as the starter, not having to earn my way in like I did freshman year. So I was a little more relaxed and didn't think too much, just kind of played the game because I was just having fun with it. And then junior year came around and really started focusing on little things in my swing that led to me not knowing what felt comfortable and everything felt poorly. And then this summer I took the summer off from baseball and actually worked at Rocky Mountain National Park. And
wow.
I think just getting away for 3 months from the game of baseball helped me get a little bit of a passion and go back to just the feel aspect of it and using what I know I can do.
Let's talk a little bit about Georgia State defensively this year. Right now, Georgia State, heading into this series at Troy, has turned 31 double plays. That leads the country in Division I college baseball. Now, you're at first base, so 9 out of 10 times, because there has been at least one instance when I've been out of Panthersville where it has not ended up at first base.
Yes.
What is it with this team this year? You guys defensively, again, really doing a great job turning those double plays.
I think pitchers know that if someone gets on either a walk or a hit and it's simply a single, that they feel like they can pitch low in the zone and trust us to make plays behind them. And we've just been able to make the plays whenever we get the opportunity to do it. There have been very few errors in those situations, and we've really capitalized. Just making sure that 2 outs is big and making sure the first one, but it's been big for us.
Well, again, an experienced infield, too, with you at first, with Will Kilgore at second, Justin Jones at short, and recently it's been Romero Greer and Mike Huggins over there at third. Lastly, senior in this ball club, your final season, Georgia State baseball, you take a little bit of that leadership role. How have you embraced that role, and how are you enjoying that role this year?
I enjoyed it a lot. I've always been in a position of leadership in teams past, so it's been real nice. Just kind of being there for the guys, the young guys who are frustrated they may not be playing as much or frustrated with the way things are going, that I can just be a voice for them because I've been through it and I know that it's not the easiest thing in the world. And then just all the new guys, teaching them the standards and morals that we have coming in here and really sticking to it and staying with what we believe in.
All right, well, appreciate you coming on the show this week. Keep seeing the ball as well as you have. Again, hitting .323, a home run, 8 RBIs, and have a good weekend at Troy.
Thank you.
All right, I want to thank senior first baseman Jack Thompson coming in, joining us here on the Georgia State Sports Update. Coming up next, we're going to talk to 3 former basketball players at the Alumni Association's 40 Under 40 ceremony. Odie Donald was a recipient that night. We'll talk to Odie as well as DJ Woodson and Travis Williams. Coming up next here in the Georgia State Sports Update. Dave Cohen here in the Georgia State Sports Update, and tonight we're at Five Church, where the Georgia State University Alumni Association has put on and honored the first inaugural 40 Under 40, and one of those is right here to my right. That's former Georgia State Panther Odie Donald, and we also have former Panthers DJ Woodson and also Travis Williams. I've got 3 former Georgia State Panthers here with me, and we had to get them on the show this week. And Odie, first of all, congratulations. 40 Under 40, the inaugural class is honored by the Alumni Association, and you're one of them. It's great to have you amongst the top 40 recognized.
Man, this is a very big deal. I think Georgia State is, in my opinion, one of the best institutions in the country, and to be able to represent not only athletically but academically big honor. And to have these two guys with me, it doesn't get any better than that. So.
Also, congratulations as well. You were just named this past week the first city manager in the history of South Fulton.
Yeah, I mean, a very big deal. It's been, I would say, a heck of a week. I think was honored to have some of my teammates and different people from the community come out for my swearing in. But really, the work we did in the District of Columbia was great. But to be able to continue that at home, where I'm from, close proximity to where I went to college, and again, having the support of one of the biggest real estate tycoons in the country, living in Nashville, a few hours away, having Coach Travis Williams, who's entrenched in the community, to really kind of support that and help bring me home. Indebted to Georgia State, indebted to the community, and looking forward to doing some good work.
All three of these players played for former Georgia State head coach Charles Lefty Driesell. You see his name on the floor every time you're at a Georgia State basketball game. You mentioned DJ Woodson, who is in Nashville doing big things real estate-wise. DJ, great to have you in Atlanta for the 40 under 40, and I know you came down because of Odie. You got a lot of great things going on in Nashville.
Yeah, well, first of all, let me say thank you for having me, Dave, and I would miss this for Odie for the world. Me and Odie still keep in touch. We talk pretty regularly, so he's really, really one of my good friends, one of my best friends, and so being here to support him really means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to him, and I'm just glad to be here.
Now, one thing, unfortunately, Odie was not a part of was Lefty Driesell's NCAA team. Travis was not a player, but was an assistant coach on that roster. DJ was a player on that team, and certainly you look back, and we just got through with Ron Hunter's run to Nashville with this 2018 basketball team. But you look back at Lefty's 29-5 team, Travis, and you played at Georgia State. You also coached, so you're as emotionally invested as the three of us are, maybe more so. But you were here for some really great times.
As always, thank you. First of all, thank you, Dave, for having this platform and giving us this platform, and to being here. You know what things that's important as a former college basketball coach is to see two of your former players being success stories, doing what they love, the passion that they bring. But it's also important, to support them. And I think that's important. When you bring these young men on official visits and when you pour into their souls and then you look at their maturation process after they graduate, get families, have kids, and just move on to bigger and better things. Of course, I wouldn't miss this opportunity for the world. And you allude to the fact where we talk about basketball and being a part of Lefty Driesell. And just to talk about Lefty, I hope he gets in the Hall of Fame. I think he's back up for nomination. It is certainly time for him to get his recognition, and why he's alive and not why he's dead. And I think that's important. But to go back to the 29-5 basketball team, having type of players, the caliber of players like that with good character, good discipline, and just great guys. And and then we look at the NCAA tournament. It brings back all those memories, and I'm really excited for Georgia State.
You've done a great job in your coaching career. Again, a former assistant at Georgia State under Coach Driesell. You've been the head coach. You coached briefly as a head coach in China. You were the head coach at Fort Valley State. You were the head coach at Tennessee State. You're back in coaching now at Maynard Jackson High School here in Atlanta, making a massive impact on the young lives here that are on your ball club.
Yeah, I never would imagine when folks say, have you ever thought about coaching high school basketball? I never would imagine that, being on the other side, being able to impact those guys' lives, and the dynamics change. When I was recently head basketball coach at Tennessee State, my wife said, listen, I'm not leaving Nashville. And during that time, I had a 1- and 2-year-old at the house. And so I looked at different opportunities in the profession. But one thing I tell you, that husband and fatherly instincts wins out over everything. And so it just kept calling. I can't leave my wife. And so I made a decision from a college perspective, stay home, stay close to my wife. And then opportunity, we moved back here 2 years ago when I started Academic and Athletic Consultants Company, helping those guys transition from the high school in preparation from college. And they finally convinced me to coach high school basketball during the same time.
Travis is currently the head basketball coach at Maynard Jackson High School here in Atlanta. DJ doing great things in Nashville. We were just in Nashville with Ron Hunter's Georgia State basketball team. You were at that game. Tell everybody a little bit about what you're doing. You were on that 29-5 NCAA team that Coach Driesell had back in 2001. But to tell the Panther fans what you're doing now up in Nashville. A lot of great things in the commercial real estate world.
Yeah, so I have a real estate development and investment company. We also own apartments, and we also are a contracting company. So we also contract residential homes, and we just moved into the space of looking to contract larger commercial deals. But we also just finished our first main project in Nashville on Jefferson Street. 26,000 square foot building, some apartments, some retail at the bottom with a coffee shop and a Smoothie King. And it's up, it's stable, it's 100% leased. And now we're moving on to our next project. We've probably been about 30 to 40 homes in this one particular area of Nashville around the colleges of Tennessee State University, Meharry Medical College, and Fisk University. In that one little college hub, but they're all within a mile, half a mile of each other, and that's where we're doing a lot of our work over in that area. So we're just blessed and fortunate. My wife is a part of the team. She's my boss, and so I go to work every day letting her tell me what to do, but we're just trying to do some good work for the community and also build a legacy of our own up there. So
Sounds like you're doing great things. Odie, again, congratulations, 40 under 40. Real quick, before coming back to take the city manager's job, you were up in Washington, D.C., making a major impact up there in the world of employment and jobs.
Yeah. Well, so I served as what would be considered the labor commissioner. I was the director of the labor agency, the D.C. Department of Employment Services. So $250 million agency overseeing about 800 employees and about 7 different facilities on behalf of the Honorable Mayor Muriel Bowser, and being able to serve not only in that capacity, but on national boards related to workforce development, economic development, and government administration. And I think that experience and being able to help. I think we had $3 billion reinvested into the United States economy, over 50,000 people on an annual basis receiving employment through our services. That type of service delivery, I believe, has helped me be prepared to help the citizens of South Fulton and really the greater metro Atlanta region and the state of Georgia to be able to move our city and our state forward.
Well, again, congratulations on receiving the Alumni Association's 40 under 40 and being a part of the inaugural class.
Excited, man. Georgia State, very big deal, for me, for my family, I think. And having these two guys, I wouldn't have come without Coach Travis. He convinced my mother when she was very ill to allow me to come home and pursue my degree here, which she was against. And so again, literally without Coach Travis, I wouldn't have come. Without DJ Wootson, there have been various times, where there have been things that have happened in my career where I've kind of gotten off track or, needed some guidance, some insights, and some partnership. And, I could go to Nashville. There have been times he's hopped in the car like he did today and just drove down to help. So Georgia State family, not just these two guys, but everyone has been a big support, and I'm excited to be here and accept this honor today.
Yeah, one of the awesome aspects sitting in my seat calling games on the radio these last 35 years is getting to know a lot of these players, and it makes me feel old, but it's great when you can come into an event like this and do an interview like this with 3 of our former players, and all 3 of them are doing outstanding things. Makes you feel a little old, but at the same time, it's a great feeling to know that you guys have gone on and are doing great things and are making an impact in the worlds that with which you guys live and operate. DJ, great to see you.
great to see you too, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Travis?
Well, Dave, let's say something about you. Like I said, Dave, it's very interesting. We want to thank you, Dave, because the impact you make, not only in athletics, but around the university. Anytime they talk about Dave Cohen, the voice of the Panthers, they talk about the voice of the state. And that just says a lot about your career and what you've been able to do. And on the flip side, you've impacted our lives as well. Anytime you can call our games and be a part of the community of our lives forever. And that's the most important thing. When you leave and become a part of that Georgia State family, it's a family forever. And Dave, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
I appreciate that, Travis. I remember when Travis walked on campus, this skinny little thing from Tifton, Georgia.
A long time ago.
Yeah, and here he is all these years later with us at Five Church, 40 under 40. Hey, you may one of you two may be 40 under 40 next year at this event.
I think he missed it by 10 years.
Hey, but at the end of the day, you're still top 20 in the top 20 all-time scoring at Georgia State, right?
Exactly. Top 20 in scoring, 3-time All-Academic, and also 3-time championship on a coaching staff. So I want to let these guys know that.
All right.
Give me a hard time.
All right, good seeing you guys. Great to have you here.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thanks, Dave.
All right, I want to thank DJ Wootson. He came down from Nashville, our 40 under 40 honoree, Odie Donald II, and Travis Williams. I'm Dave Cohen. Want to thank them for joining us this week on the Georgia State Sports Update. Dave Cohen back here in the Georgia State Sports Update. We've been talking baseball. We've talked to head coach Greg Frady and Jack Thompson. Talked a little basketball from the 40 under 40. We go outside. Now we're going to talk a little tennis. And we're going to welcome onto the show Jonathan Wolf. He's the first-year head tennis coach, men's tennis here at Georgia State. Former assistant for 3 years, but now the head guy. Great having you on the show. How's it going?
Thanks so much. Good. Very, very happy to be here. First-year head coach is never easy. I've been blessed to have the support staff that I have with my assistant, administration, and they've kind of made the process a lot easier for me. But we picked off right where we got started, and we have a lot of the same faces back. The system pretty much stays the same, obviously new leadership, but the guys have embraced it as much as I have, and we're on a roll now. So
tell me, how does the role change? I know it's assistant coach, head coach, but in the day-to-day and from a coaching standpoint, how has your role changed or evolved as you've moved? Because you've seen the program from one standpoint, now you're looking at it from the top.
Right. No, I mean, yeah, it comes a little bit more pressure, obviously. As an assistant, you kind of are in the back seat a little bit and kind of have the head coach to kind of guide you to the tennis court a little bit more, in the office. I have my office work as well, but. No, I mean the guys believe in the philosophy that I've instilled over the past few years, and they're just as excited as me to kind of see me lead the guys, and it's a matter of trust, and they trust that I know what I'm doing, and all I want is to succeed, and so do they. So.
Yeah, coming up next on the men's tennis schedule, Georgia Southern, March 30th. But you guys recently were down in Florida, Florida Atlantic. You played Penn State. Talk a little bit about how that tournament went.
Yeah,
because you're 9-8 on the year.
Correct. So a lot of our road trips, we have kind of 2 matches, and we always want to at least finish on a high note, and we've been doing that. We've come up a little short in a couple of the matches against big-time schools, and we're playing those schools very close. We're right there. It just comes with a little bit more experience. We have kind of a young team. We have a couple seniors, but then a lot of newer faces on the team. So as long as we keep putting ourselves in that situation, we're going to eventually come out on top. And I preach that to the guys every day in practice before the matches, and we just want to put ourselves in a good situation come conference time. We'll be able to execute on those things better. So
yeah, you were telling me offset that you got a lot of new faces, and you look back at your win down at Florida Atlantic. Was a freshman, Andre Duarte, who ends up clinching the match.
Yeah, definitely exceeded my expectations. Super windy conditions down there. As a freshman, you're never too confident to have a freshman out there for a clinching point. But I mean, I might take that back now, because he exceeded my expectations. He embraced being nervous, and he was able to beat a senior actually of FAU. So props to him, and we're just getting started. So.
Who else? You mentioned another name, Kevin Hune. Kevin
Hune, yeah, started off the season hot. He was ready to go. We inserted him in the lineup. Came out with a couple wins. He had a nice clinch point against Charlotte, doubles and singles. And so, as a head coach, we want nothing more to see these young guys step up to the plate when they're called. So. All
right, real quick, again coming up March 30th. You're going to jump right into the Georgia State-Georgia Southern rivalry.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
They talk a lot football, basketball, baseball.
Yeah,
it trickles down right to tennis, too.
It does. The guys feel it, too, and, it's a big one. They always want to be able to brag to their fellow student athletes, hey, we beat Southern, too, So, I mean, they have a very, well-coached team. I know the coach well, and they're going to bring their A game, and it's an away match, so it's going to be hostile territory. So, but we're in a good spot, and I trust the guys and the senior leadership to get us through that one. So.
All right. Well, good luck down in Statesboro. Great having you on the show, and good luck the rest of the way.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. Again, want to thank men's tennis coach Jonathan Wolf here on the Georgia State Sports Update. Had a busy show today. Again, talking baseball with Greg Frady. Baseball getting ready to go to Troy, Alabama this weekend for a 3-game series. So I want to thank Coach Frady. I want to thank Jack Thompson. Great to talk to Odie Donald, Travis Williams, and DJ Woodson, and Jonathan as well. For the entire crew, I'm Dave Cohen. Thanks for watching. We'll see you here next week on the Georgia State Sports Update.